Reading question 27. In the 7th paragraph, lines 57 through 75, the author compares sidemen to traveling salesmen in order to do what? First, we have to figure out what are they talking about when they say sidemen. So in 57, right here, after making his way to New York, Barry immediately became a presence and soon was in demand. The great jazz orchestras of the swing era were fronted by musical directors, arrangers. Duke Ellington was preeminent. Who drew the acclaim. The sidemen, here it is, the sidemen were musical traveling salesmen who sold someone else's wares in the best style they could manage. So the sidemen were the ones that were playing what was created by the directors and the arrangers, correct? It was with Fletcher Henderson that Barry began to ditch some of the sidemen's subservient trappings. So they started changing it up. They weren't just going to do exactly what the directors and arrangers were always going to do. For starters, Henderson wrote in keys that were rare for the jazz orchestras of the day, and the somber indigo-inflected voicings were ideal for the player of Barry's introspective approach to his instrument. Barry sounds as if he's being swallowed by his sax. Blues in C-sharp minor, for instance, is odd, haunting, and ultimately relaxing. A Barry solo in its slightly off mic, making the listener feel as though he's been playing for some time before we finally hear him. The effect is unnerving, as if we weren't paying close attention. So that's that whole section. And this one, you probably didn't have to read all of it. There's parts where you can skip around, especially if you've already read it. So let's look at the options when it's comparing sidemen to traveling salesmen. So A, make clear how often musicians had to travel. They just talked about New York. There wasn't a lot of traveling in this particular paragraph. Let's look at B, indicate that musicians often had side jobs. Now that may be true, but they didn't refer to side jobs in that paragraph. C, illustrate sidemen's supportive role in a band. This one I'm going to have to get behind because remember it talked about how they sold someone else's wares, right? The traveling salesman where they played other people's songs and they were that support role, right? And only later were they transitioning to something a little different. Or do you show how hard sidemen work to get hired? Which that may be true, but that's not what they're talking about in this particular paragraph. So the answer to 27 is actually C, illustrate sidemen's supportive role in a band. That they were playing somebody else's pieces and they had that supportive role.